Welcome, class. I hope everyone had a good weekend.
Yes, Mr. Young.
I appreciate everybody going onto the class website and doing the learning activity that I assigned. I went on there this morning and saw that we had 100% participation, which is very good. And true to my word, we're going to have a quiz show game that we're going to play today. It's not worth any points. I'll give you the points for participating on the website this weekend, but for this is just for fun. It's to reinforce what you already know, what you read, and kind of tie this lesson into previous lessons. And also to give you a focus on what to focus on when you read and when you hear the lesson that I'm going to give today. Okay? Today's lesson is very special to me. I really like this lesson. It's part of the American Revolution series that we're on, and it's focusing on the Boston Tea Party. Has anybody heard of the Boston Tea Party before, other than the reading? When have you heard of it before?
On TV shows and stuff on the History Channel.
Cool. Yeah, it's really it's kind of like the signature American event of the Revolution prior to the Revolution, and it actually helped to start the Revolution, a few years later. So we're going to talk about that today in today's lesson. But before we do that, we're going to do the game that I promised. We have the blue team, we have the red team. Okay, so what I want you to do is I'm going to go through each of these questions. I'm going to alternate between blue and red. And I'm going to ask I've got questions for everybody in the class. So I'm going to ask each individual a question from the reading and from the thing you did online in the class website. And if you don't know the answer, your team can huddle together and try to get the right answer. If they miss it, then you can pass it to the other team and they get a chance to do it. Okay? So it's just a friendly little competition, but you'll see it'll pay off. You guys will have a better idea of what's going on in this lesson. And when I give you the assignments, you'll be better able to perform those assignments. And let's see, let's start with number 1. Why is the Boston Tea Party an important event in history? Red team.
It was a major event leading up to the American Revolution.
Very good. It was kind of, even though it happened 3 years before the Revolution started, it was a major event. Okay, number 2. Who did the colonists dress up as when they boarded the ships in protest? Blue team.
Mohawk Indians.
Mohawk Indians, correct. As you remember from last lesson, the French and Indian Wars were going on in the United States between the British and the French, and the Americans were on one side, and the French and the Indians were on the other side. And so this was kind of a common theme during that time. People understood, Indians were kind of a symbol of the United States at that time, and they became to represent freedom and the fight for freedom. So that was kind of a political costume that they were wearing when they did this. What was the main reason that the colonists were protesting? Red team.
They felt they were being taxed unfairly without being represented in the government.
Correct. Have you ever heard of taxation without representation? That was kind of what it was all about, right? Okay, number 4. True or false? Destroying the tea was not a big deal.
False.
False. It was a big deal. It was worth over $1 million in today's dollars, the tea that was destroyed. Okay. How much tea did the colonists destroy? Go ahead, I gave you the answer.
342 containers of tea.
Right, that's the right answer, but it's around $1 million. I have that on there too, so either answer would have been correct on that one. Was the Boston Tea Party a planned protest, blue team?
Not really sure.
Yeah, we're not really sure. Some traditions say that it was planned, and other traditions say that it was spontaneous. Doesn't really matter, the outcome was still the same. Number 7, how many ships did the colonists board and destroy in their cargo of tea? Red team.
They boarded 3 ships.
Yes, they did. Do you know the names of them?
They were the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver.
Correct. Who led the town meeting earlier the day to discuss the unfair taxation of tea by the British?
Samuel Adams.
Samuel Adams. He's kind of a famous figure. The whole Adams family, actually. Number 9. Which of the following statements is not true about the Boston Tea Party? Red team.
The British thought that the Mohawk Indians had destroyed the tea.
Right. The British never really thought that it was Mohawk Indians. It was a disguise because the people who participated didn't want to be recognized because they knew that they would be, arrested probably and thrown in jail or worse. So the British knew this, and it was, like I said, it was a political statement that they were making by dressing up as Mohawks. Okay, number 10. How many people participated in the Boston Tea Party protest? Go ahead, Red Team.
45.
Oh, blue team, yes. 45. Actually, it's either 45 or 116. They're not really sure. There's people who claim to know who was there. Some people say Paul Revere was there. Dr. Thomas Young was there. But we really don't really know because, like I said, they were in costumes and they really didn't want to be known. And it wasn't about rank and status. It was everybody, being the same status, protesting taxation that was unfair. Who was the British appointed governor of Boston at the time of the Boston Tea Party protest? Go ahead.
Governor Hutchinson.
Yes, Governor Hutchinson. They didn't like him very much. The colonists did not. On what day did the Boston Tea Party take place? Blue team, go ahead.
December 16th, 1774.
Correct. Okay, what effect did the Boston Tea Party protest have on colonists? Go ahead, red team.
It united colonists from all 13 colonies as never before.
Correct. Before this point, it was kind of like 13 separate colonies, and all of a sudden, the Boston Massacre happened right before this, and the Boston Tea Party was that one event that everybody kind of heard about, and it's like, yeah, you know what, we're kind of all in this together. And what was the immediate result of the Boston Tea Party protest? Go ahead.
The port of Boston was closed with the forces tax.
Yes, they closed the port of Boston, so it actually kind of made things worse at first because the British did not like the fact that the tea had been thrown overboard. So it made things worse, and things escalated, and as you'll see in the lesson, we kind of go down that road towards war. So great job, and like I said, I appreciate you going on the website and doing the pre-work for this. And this is just a pre-assessment that I do to see where we all stand, make sure that we know what the important facts are. So what I have here is some root beer candy, which is kind of appropriate because when they quit drinking tea, they started making stuff like root beer and other things that had nothing to do with the tea that the British were taxing. So if you guys can go ahead and distribute this among your teams, I appreciate it. All right, thank you.